Well, a special anniversary for a historic warship. The USS Intrepid played a key role in the United States victory in World War II. Now, former crew members come together to celebrate the aircraft carrier that has turned into a museum. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The United States declared war on Japan and entered World War II.
With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
There were 24 Essex-class aircraft carriers built during the war for the United States Navy. The USS Intrepid is one of them.
We honor you, we salute you, and we thank you. And I ask the former crew members, please stand so that we might recognize you.
Celebrating its 75th anniversary of service this weekend, former Intrepid crew members return for a very special ceremony.
To be able to celebrate what is 75 years since the day of the commissioning of the ship, which was August 16th, 1943, and have a weekend-long series of celebrations for what are 342 crew members from around the country, from 37 states, and there are 900 or so family and friends, guests, descend upon Intrepid. There's just nothing else like it.
Back when I was 18, I was proud I could get on the Intrepid ship. I always wanted to be in the Navy, and my dreams come true.
The carrier was called to duty again in 1952, participating in military exercises and supporting our allies during the Cold War.
At this moment, every ship in the force is ready to take to the air should the issue be forced. Every bomber has its load, and every fighter its strafing power.
My time of service was working on the flight deck. Everything on the flight deck within the V1 division, which was could be flight deck maintenance, the pushing of the aircraft, directing the aircraft around the flight deck, sometimes towing them. We could be in crash crews if a plane crashed on deck. We would have to get the pilots out and get the material off the flight deck.
She was later part of 3 tours of duty during the Vietnam War, when a young John McCain served as a pilot on board. Commander Tom Davis was involved in planning strike missions.
What keeps popping out in my mind is the tempo of operations that was such in contrast to my previous combat in Korea, where it was intense as well. But during the Vietnam period, it was much more intense. There were just simply no breaks. We were continuously on station.
One of the Intrepid's most remarkable stands in history. I remember as a kid watching the Intrepid sailing the Pacific, plucking astronauts out of the water.
We're going to be recovering 2 space capsules, Mercury and Gemini, in 1962 and in 1965.
During that time, we practiced picking up the astronaut, and the Intrepid wanted to be authentic. So what the Intrepid did was they were looking for a person named Carpenter, and they're going to put him in a raft, and we practiced picking him up. When Intrepid had nobody named Carpenter, so they took the ship's carpenter, and we put him in a life raft, and we practiced picking him up for a couple of days.
And since 1982, she's become one of the biggest tourist attractions in New York City. Berthed on the Hudson River, the USS Intrepid is home to the Sea, Air, and Space Museum, a reminder of sacrifice and freedom for all.
The stars and stripes are hoisted, and the flag is so big that the flagpole bends.
Our thanks to those who've served on the Intrepid and throughout the armed forces.